It seems like there are new cameras and equipment coming out all of the time. It gets increasingly confusing and the FOMO is real. John and I have been preaching for years that the best way to try out new gear is to rent before you buy. There is only one place that we recommend when it comes to renting, and that is our friends over at Lens Rentals. Lens Rentals is the premier source for renting not only camera equipment, but lenses, drones, projectors, and more. Do you have a big project coming up and you really need to wow your couple? Wanting to test out the newest camera before you drop thousands on it? You need Lens Rentals. My favorite thing is that if I love something I rent, I can keep it. They apply a portion of the rental fee to the purchase price, and within a few simple clicks, the gear is mine. So head over to howtofilmweddings.com/lensrentals and use promo code HTFW15 at checkout for 15% off of your order. Lens Rentals, the only place we recommend renting.
I think this is it. This is how we start. We don't even do an intro. Like, this is the podcast.
This is the podcast.
We can make Jessica really nervous because that's what we like to do. She's like, wait, what's the plan, though?
I don't like...
We didn't discuss this, guys.
I don't like making Jessica nervous. I think Jessica and my wife are very similar. Like, if you're going to do something like this, you need to be very prepared. You need to have notes. You need to have talking points.
Yeah.
And
we went over all that this morning, but the problem is we didn't know what the topic of the podcast was.
Okay, so same thing last night, but I don't remember what I talked about.
Patrick's like, wait, what if they ask? I'm like, I don't know.
I love this. So to those that are like listening to this rambling, just so you know, Nick is on the screen. We have Austin and Jessica on the screen, and Patrick and Elena. This is like the core team, and John, myself. This is me talking. Yes. Yep. We have 2 How to Film Weddings hoodies on the screen. You cannot purchase these anywhere, but that is neither here nor there. But I almost wore mine, which would have been funny if we would all wore them. It would be way too much. But we are we have some more people on the team. We have Blake, the editor. We've got Logan, who does administrative stuff, and Emma, who's doing stuff for us. But the 4 of you all, Nick and I, meet every week. We talk. You're people that are in our world a lot. And we were talking yesterday about just like doing a podcast where we just chat about what's going on in our lives, where we are with things. And I had the idea for something like this the last time that Patrick and Elena were in town. We all rented an Airbnb. Austin and Jessica were like filming in the Caribbean or something. I don't remember, but we were like just sitting around the Airbnb having a conversation, and I was like, man, I wish this would have been recorded because this would be a really good podcast. And so to stress people out that are more of planners, yesterday we were texting about this, and I was like, I really think that's just what I want to do. I want you guys to be able to ask us questions. I want to ask you all questions. That's the plan for the episode. And so the planners in the room were like, yeah, that's great, but what can I prepare for? So that's where we're at right now.
Can you just give me the questions in advance so I can think about them? That's what I'm thinking, and have been thinking for the last 24 hours.
Oh, it's not been that long. We didn't plan this that.
So I guess our plan is whenever we ask a question, we all stare at Jessica because she has to be the first one to answer. No time to think, nothing at all.
I love that for me. I'm like a bit sweaty.
She's also the most fun to listen to, which helps.
So good. Yes. Yeah. Oh. So I think we start every question with 5 to 10 minutes from Jessica, and then us just chime in for like 5 seconds. No. No. But we're here. We're on the heels of the mastermind launch. We have been working on this as a team since November, kind of talking about, okay, mastermind launch. And you guys were all in our mastermind last year. We all did the retreat in Arizona. We've spent time together, and we hired you all like October, November, somewhere in there. And I remember saying to thinking, and I said it yesterday, I think, so it was like, we didn't know if it was going to work out. So we were kind of testing the waters and testing. And Patrick started getting in and editing YouTube videos, and Elena started doing social media, and Austin started making killer graphics. So if you've seen updated graphics on our feed or things like that, and then Jessica was just kind of like in no man's land, and it was like, how can we hire Jessica? And number one, we just wanted to hear her talk. Number two, she's really smart and really good at what she does. And she made the mistake of saying, I love details. I love keeping things in order. And so she's had to deal with me being super like idea, big picture guy, having the newest, biggest idea every week, and trying to organize all that to create systems within our company. And so over the last year, it's gone from it was building to like How to Film Weddings to me now is like a legitimate brand. It's like 4 years in, and now we're building this team. And so Jessica has started trying to undo the Frankenstein version of putting a business together that Nick and I did. Would that be correct, Nick?
I would say so. We're very Frankenstein-y.
Yeah. And so like we would hire, it's like this email service is where we're going to do our emails, and this is where we're going to do our courses, and this is how we upload, and this is how we get the stuff to Blake. And it was just like, what is, and I'm not like the most detail oriented guy. I've learned to be that over the years, but over the last 5-6 months, we have slowly brought them on and like really see them as part of the team. And so I've talked a lot, but I don't even know where to go from here. Nick, over to you.
I don't know where we can go, but yeah, like our vision for How to Film Weddings, with this is, John and I are obviously going to continue to be very involved. This is our little, third child for both of us, right? Like it's something that we are very excited about and want to continue to do. But we also know that people like Austin and Jessica, Patrick and Elena, some of these other people that we know have things to offer that we don't have as much experience in. And so kind of our vision is to let, the four of them, if they want to, start being more regular podcast contributors, start with YouTube videos and like that kind of stuff. And so we wanted to, both of them were on our podcast about a month ago, talking about kind of their journey in getting into filmmaking and that kind of stuff. And so kind of the purpose of this episode is to continue to introduce them to our audience so that you can be familiar with them. I want to ask a question, but I was going to ask something about them that we covered probably in the last month's podcast.
That's okay, and that's neat. And they're all looking at us down there, like they're on the bottom of my Zoom screen, so they're like, okay, what's gonna?
When are they gonna talk to me?
This is the fun part about being us. And like when we initially reached out, I posted in the Facebook group just like, hey, who could help us edit videos? And I did not think it would turn into like, oh, well, Patrick and Elena are like really rad and we could hire both of them. And then it was like Austin reached out and I was like, well, he could do videos too. And we've just been figuring things out, and you've seen the benefit of having them around. And I was having a call with Jessica the other day, just about like, maybe talk for a second, Jessica, like about our call the other day where you were like, I don't feel like I know what I'm doing.
No, absolutely. So we came back from, I was aware going into this, like I jumped on board about in November and was very aware that like the retreat was coming up and then we were going to launch Mastermind again. So I was like, this is the focus. Like this is absolutely where people need to be, like what they need to be thinking about, what they need to be like pushing. And I was like, so I can like sit back and observe and I will absolutely help out where possible. But like my skill set for like what was needing to be done wasn't necessarily like really obvious. So we went to Arizona and then like we got to hang out in person, and obviously like we had just finished our own year of Mastermind and knew that 2022 was happening. And so like the big push happened. And so John gave me a call and was like, how are you doing? And I'm like, I love this, but I have absolutely like no idea what you want from me right now, because it's just busy and everybody is doing their thing. And it's like, it feels like things are going really, really well. And everybody has kind of like found their feet in their position. And I'm here like, oh gosh, not being helpful, not pulling my weight. How can I be more helpful? So that was what me and John chatted about.
Yeah, and my response was more of just being around over the last 3, 4, 5 months, just to learn what we stand for and what, like get immersed in the culture. And that was one thing I wanted to ask Patrick and Elena, as well as Austin and Jessica, is just like, what was your thought? Like, I put out basically an ad in our group, like, hey, I want an editor. Patrick, you reached out what was the conversation between you and Elena, and then maybe what was that like transitioning into like actually help? What's it like working for John and Nick?
Oh boy. All right, so I just remember the conversation between me and Elena was, I thought like this could be a really fun idea. Let's try it. And Elena, being more of a realist in the moment, was like, babe, you have so much work to do right now. We have so many edits. We're figuring things out. We're trying to move in a few months. You do not have the time to do this. I'm like, yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's just give it a shot anyways. There's no harm in reaching out. No harm in emailing them and seeing what they say. And
that's pretty much how that went. I was like, this literally makes no sense. Like, nothing about this makes sense. But also at the same time, he was like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know we talked about it, and I know Austin and Jess talked about it in our last podcast, and like we just take risks, and this was one that I was very much happy taking. And yeah, then working with you guys, it was kind of like you guys kind of told me a bit of the dream and the vision of like what this could be like wanting to make more YouTube content, increase the scope of educational content, and from then on, I was like, yeah, I was like, there was probably some more things in the conversation, but that was like 7 months ago. I don't remember much. But from there on, it was like full steam ahead. We're just making YouTube videos every week, and it's been a blast, like just hanging out with you guys weekly, chatting, even meeting up in Tulsa to kind of go over some more details and dreams about like the future of how to film weddings. And yeah, I would say this was a risk that was very much worth taking. Like jumping on board with you guys.
Oh, that's really cool. Austin, what was your thought process?
Yeah, so when you posted that, we were in Denver shooting a doubleheader, and it was our first kickoff to like wedding season. Basically, it was like once that weekend hit, we were full on for 5 months or however long it was. So I remember being really hesitant, and I kept texting John like, I don't know, like I have the skill set, I am the right person for this. At least I kind of felt that, but man, I don't know if I can do it. Kind of like what Patrick and Elena were saying, like it's busy. There's a lot to do, and I think I was super hesitant, which is not normal for me. And I think it was Jessica that was actually like, Austin, this isn't in your personality to say no to an opportunity. And so we just kind of talked it through, and it was a risk. It was kind of one of those things where it was like, it doesn't make sense on paper right now, but being a person who thinks about the future a lot, I was like, but this could be good for our future. And that's what led us to being like, let's try this. We don't really like Nick and John that much, but like I'm just kidding. But yeah, honestly, it was like your personalities, getting to know you guys through Mastermind, that was like, these guys are fun. I think we could really click with these guys, and thankfully we got to go to Vision Quest, where we got to hang out during that time in person, and I think that's when it was like, yeah, these could be our people.
I remember, first of all, I remember messaging back and forth with you, Austin, about this. And you, like, I was trying to be as genuine as, like, I wasn't trying to sell you on the idea of working for us, but you kept making these funny remarks like, stop it, I know you're good at sales. You're trying to, like, I'd be like, if you don't have the time, it's okay. And he would be like, I know what you're doing. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything. If you don't have the time, I understand. And I just thought that was very funny to learn that about your personality early. And you are like a deep thinker, and you're like a dreamer. And you'll, after we spend time together, you'll send a message usually about a day after, like, hey, just so you guys know, like, we really like you guys. We really like this. We're really happy about this. We're really thankful. And to me, it's like, we talked about it in both of your episodes about like taking risks and stuff like that and taking steps. Like Nick and I were at a point in November where it was before November, when it was like this summer, where it was just like, man, we've got a lot of good stuff going for us. And we're running out of hours in the day to get these things done. And let's start looking for people that could fit the culture of what we're wanting to do. And by bringing you all on, like, we've been able to, create YouTube videos every week for however many weeks, and we've been able to update our branding and update just the look of, just the How to Film Weddings look and feel, and able to do more on Instagram and social media. And speaking of social media, I don't know how far along it came along, but Elena, when did we start floating the idea by you of like, hey, you're pretty good at the social medias, want to come help as well? Because it wasn't at the very beginning.
No, I think Patrick had probably been editing videos for a few weeks, and Austin had been doing things. I think they came out about the same time, and it was a few weeks later, and I think you had just like sent a message and was like, I don't know if this would be the right fit, but like, if that's something you're game for, like, we're looking for someone to kind of like help with our social media presence. And I'm like, I mean, I don't have any formal training in that. I've just been trial and erroring, coming on board to a business midstream and figuring it out, because I got to the point with our own business that I couldn't stand how Patrick was doing it. So I just decided to do it myself.
That sounds familiar.
That was like beginning of the pandemic. I was like, business. Yeah, you're not doing this anymore. This is my job now. So just kind of from there, I don't know, I think you'd reached out and were like, I think this might just be a good extra, like, little bit for you guys. We'd love to kind of have you on board. And at the time I had just left my teaching job, and I'm like, I've got nothing but time at this point. So it just kind of seemed like a good fit, and we've kind of been running with it ever since. It's a weird dynamic to, like, I don't know, be writing and like creating posts for other people, but also when I've listened to you talk for quite a very long time now on a weekly basis, and then through Mastermind, like getting to know like you guys and your personality and like the culture of How to Film Weddings, it was like I've been immersed in this for so long that it didn't really feel all that difficult, but it's been a fun thing to work out.
Yeah, and I think around that time also, now that I'm thinking about, like, we were thinking about, like, how can we, in the next couple of years, dive into the education space. We didn't know how to do that, or, like, where to start in any way. And then all of a sudden, like, yeah, I think that's around the time when you guys were offering, like, the position on the Facebook pages and everything. I'm like, and, like, we didn't realize that at that point. It was like, this is that opportunity that we've been looking for to, like, kind of start stepping into the waters and everything, and work under a brand that knows how to do this, where we can also just provide valuable education and, like, meaningful ways.
Yeah. At least for John and I, our heart, our core of How to Film Weddings since the beginning is, has been to elevate the wedding film industry. Like that's what we've wanted to do. And we want to help people be better business people. We want to help people be better shooters. We want to help people be better editors. But I think also in doing that is, I think by us, kind of doing this and taking the charge a little bit, we also know that some of the people that we've been training and talking, that are in our mastermind, that are going to be the next generation of educators. Like I think that's just a natural track for people. And I know that some of you might be out there like, well, that old thing of, aren't you worried that you're training your competition, or, like that whole thought. But we think it's better for the industry to have more people, to have voices that are sharing what they are doing. Okay. And, whenever John texted me that, I think he sent a screenshot of what Patrick said about, hey, maybe down the line, what would it look like if we wanted to do a workshop? And, just like our first response was like, yes, like that's the type of stuff that we want the people that we're working with to do. And if it's under, the How to Film Weddings brand, it's under your, like, that we don't care. We just want to elevate the wedding industry. Something that John has said a few times, Elena touched on it, and I just want your honest feedback. It's, and you can be really honest, with this comment.
Complete immunity. Okay.
Whenever you're an internet personality, you have this people easily judge you from the outside, right? It's like, oh, Nick is this way, John is this way, and they think that they know us, okay? And to some degree they kind of do, but they don't really. And I just
like where this is going.
I just want to get your honest opinion on us and the culture that we have made, and if we are really who we are portraying to be, online in the things that we're saying, or do you guys think that it's just an act, the things that we're talking about? What is your opinion on the culture
Jessica,
that we have?
Go ahead.
Not me first.
What is your opinion on the
opened up
culture
a
that
can
we
of
have?
worms.
Yeah, please.
Well,
please.
What is it?
everyone
Yeah, that's a
you
good
want.
question. Like, what is it really like? If you were to describe how it is to like our personalities, like, because I think that we get that from time to time. People meet and be like, "You're like you were on the podcast." It's like I didn't expect that to, or whatever. So I would love to know. Open floor. What is it like to work with us? What
Other
did
than
you
John
expect?
and I being taller than people think
Yes.
we
I was
are.
going to say that.
That was the weirdest thing about the
I'm sorry,
mastermind
everyone-
retreat.
John has the deeper voice, okay? To answer everyone's question, Nick is taller, John has the deep voice.
And by the way, I just got to throw this out there because this is annoying. When people meet me, they say, "Oh, I thought you were going to be like 5'5". I thought you were going to be like really short." I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "All the pictures next to Nick, you're just so much shorter than him. We thought he was like 5'9" or 10, and you were just like a really little guy." I'm 6'1", almost. I own it with shoes on. I'm 6'1", so I'll count it. And Nick is like 6'3" or maybe 6'4". So we're both decently tall humans. A lot at the retreat the other day, people were just like, "You're so much taller than I thought," or "You're not as round as I thought you'd be." It's like, what? One guy said, "You're way nicer than I thought you would be." Not at the retreat, but at some workshop. He's like, "You're just so much nicer. Like, I just thought you'd probably be a jerk." I'm like, what? Why?
Okay, so that is a great jumping off question. Is John a jerk? No. What's your opinion of us with the culture and all that
Describe
kind of stuff?
Nick. Describe Nick to people that want like a behind the curtain. Let's start with Nick. What is Nick like? You get to be in these meetings, or what do you guys think of? Like, what's it like to work with Nick? Who is Nick? How is Nick? Elena, go ahead.
Oh, I get to go first. Nick is definitely more reserved and quiet of the two of you. Like, Nick kind of just like sits back and he does a lot of thinking. And John shares everything that comes to his mind as it comes to his mind. And so It's interesting just to see like the external processing versus Nick just needs to take a minute and take things in. And when we sit in meetings, John's just like a mile a minute and Nick's like, "I agree."
That's probably the most frustrating thing to John that I do. He like and I'm like,
I pour out my heart and soul. What do you guys think?
It's like the texting. Yeah. It's the texting equivalent to okay.
No, just the letter K. Just the letter K. Way less than okay. Yeah.
But like I think then like with John giving so many ideas, like there's probably 5 ideas in the morning that we wake up to and everything, and Nick is the one who's capable of making those ideas a bit more tangible. Mm-hmm. Because of how much more like reserved and like critical thought and like more of his like thought process and everything, he's able to like figure out like what can be done, how to do it, and create the best thing from those ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it.
Austin?
Good.
Is that...
I think that's right on. I've been getting the chance to work with Nick quite a bit, like one-on-one, just through design stuff. And he's so kind. It's you never know if you're like way off track because he just is like, "Yeah, that's good." And then, but what do you think of this? And it's just like, tell me if I suck. Just tell me. Like, but yeah, Nick he's great. I mean, I just enjoy like that. He's very encouraging, I think, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
So you get to work with Nick a lot more, Austin, because Austin's redoing a lot of stuff for our website, graphic design, just like the look of all of our stuff. Patrick gets to work with Nick a little bit more, like just with the YouTube videos, and then I get to hang out a lot more with the girls, especially before the retreat happened and like this launch for the course. But Nick is very nice. Just throwing it out there. You said it in a way like Nick was the nice one and like the good cop. Just double checking. I guess we can move over.
Accurate.
I would say that's accurate. I do feel like if there's a good cop, bad cop, Nick gets to be the good cop most of the time.
Man, ouch. But it's probably true.
But in my opinion, it's the Austin was just saying, hey, tell me if it sucks. John doesn't say that sucks, but he's like, he gives you his honest feedback on how he feels about something, which is a good skill so that you know that if you're on the right track or not.
Okay. I don't feel like I give like the most super, like, I'm not like Simon Cowell or something.
No, that wasn't what I was saying.
Like, whenever we have an idea, like, I have very much trusted my gut when it comes to like, this is going to be good for the brand. This is not going to be good for the brand. And whenever I really just go for that, that's when we have the most success in our brand. Mm-hmm. And I have to be careful as a human because like I can just bulldoze like, nope, that's not good. That's not what we need to do, instead of like taking the time to be like, this is why I think that this is not going to work. And so I can get that. I can receive that, as you would say at church. Any other feedback on working with Nick? Like, what's it like working with Nick?
Why are we focusing on me?
Like, we'll move to me next. We'll get to the good part.
We should have a roast. I think we should just roast you both.
Anybody have any other thoughts? Because I have thoughts about working with Nick. I love, like, so whenever Nick and I first got going, I used to get really frustrated because I would be like, we could do this. And he'd be like he would immediately, without meaning to, just be going, shaking his head like, no, stop talking. We can't do that because of this. And my thing is always like, no, but we could do it if we did this. And so at the beginning, I would be like super frustrated. It was like, this is a great idea. And Nick's like, we can't do that. And I feel like it's a good balance, of course. And that's why it works so well. Is like, it's this marriage in business with each other where it's like, we can go do this, honey. And he's like, no, we can't do that. We already have plans with this, remember? And I'm like, oh yeah, but that'll be fun to do that one day. Let's plan for it.
Austin, if you are complaining with how positive my feedback is, it's because I've learned with dealing with John to just saying initially what I'm thinking. This is like I would hone in on the thing that is like the problem of the thing, not, oh, that was a great idea, but did you think of this? And I would just like, but did you think of this? And so that is something that I have had to learn. That's surprising
to me that like, because I don't know that version of Nick. I don't know the like give you the nice thing first. It's bad. I'm great with it, but like he would always like, no, we can't do that, and it would never be like a no, like this is great, but he's gotten like we've helped each other grow a lot over the last 4 years or whatever. I'm looking at the clock. We probably need to go to a break. Some of us need to restart our cameras. I'm not going to say their names, Austin and Jessica. So we're going to go to break, and after that, we're going to talk about me. So we'll be back after this break. Nick and I have to tell you about one of our favorite places to upload our wedding films, and that is Love Stories TV. Love Stories TV is one of the best free resources for us wedding filmmakers. The best part is they are bringing the couples to us. All we have to do is upload our films and we are good to go. Upload unlimited wedding films to your completely free business page. Setup is easy and your films can be live in just minutes. Now is the perfect time to start uploading to Love Stories TV. So head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/lovestoriestv to check out all of the details and see how Love Stories TV is giving away $10,000 in cash to wedding filmmakers just like you. That's howtofilmweddings.com/lovestoriestv to start uploading and connecting with the right couples today.
One question that we see wedding filmmakers asking, what is the best site for licensing music? We have one answer, MusicBed. I have been exclusively using MusicBed since 2016, and our films are better because of it. I have been told during consultations that couples love our films because they feel raw, authentic, and that the music wasn't cheesy. MusicBed has a roster of incredibly talented musicians, bands, and composers who pour their hearts into their work, and you can hear the difference. Find the perfect song with MusicBed's intuitive search features like genre, mood, beats per minute, and key, which is probably my favorite of the search parameters. Head over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed to do what I did and take your wedding films to the next level. Use promo code HTFW22 at checkout to receive 1 month free with the purchase of any annual subscription. That's howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed. Did you guys watch Eric Floberg's video yesterday?
I did.
Not yet. I saw multiple people post it, but I haven't watched it yet.
What was it?
I was inspired by it. I felt like crap by watching it.
Yep.
But also like inspired in the sense that I wanted to change something, but also inspired in the sense by just how he created it.
Mm-hmm.
This
is the podcast. We're still recording. This has got to be in the podcast. Keep going.
Yeah. But anyway, the whole idea of the video is be bored, create stuff. And, he was like, I think the thing that has really stifled my creativity has been the fact that I'm on my phone all the time, or that I'm, constantly consuming media and not being bored. And so, he was listening to this runner's podcast, and this guy was like, hey, I don't look at my phone for the first hour I wake up. I don't look at my phone for the last hour before I go to bed. He's like, I don't look at my phone when I'm in the bathroom. I don't look at my phone when I'm just walking around the house, going from my bedroom to the kitchen, and just has all these rules for himself. And anyway, it was really inspirational, both from a, hey, I should do that kind of standpoint, and also a, man, I want to create stuff like that, where it's like scripted, but it just looks so cool, kind of stuff. Anyway,
we didn't come back from break, but we're just in because I like this. Nick, so
yes.
We're talking about Eric's video from that he posted yesterday, and he said he like something stood out to me about like not looking at your phone while you're moving. Mm-hmm. And it's like I was in my car at a stoplight, and I'm always, every time that I can, I'm like, just want to pull, and I'm like walking from one side of my house over to another room or whatever, and it's like, let me pull out my phone while I'm walking up the stairs and look at, it's like, what is going, so like this morning, I did not have my phone at breakfast. I watched the sunrise as I just sit there with breakfast and watch the sunrise, and I had a lot of really good thoughts, ideas that just helped me be centered, but, I had a good conversation with Eric actually yesterday, like just talking to him about that video, and like it's already, if you haven't checked it out, Eric Floberg, he's awesome.
I think so. As we're recording this, my wife and I are heading out to South Africa on Friday. So in just like 3 days from recording this, and Jen and I were talking, and she's like, let's be bored from a social media standpoint while we're there. It's like, I know it's going to be really, you're going to want to, hey, look at our business. We're in South Africa, and, posting all over Instagram. But she's like, let's go and we can film stuff if we want to and record stuff. But maybe we, for those 10 days while we're gone, are like,
yeah, bored. You're making this into like an anniversary trip. Go ahead, Jess.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. Like, what am I trying to say? We did a little bit of that actually when we were in Cabo in November. Don't get me wrong, we definitely posted to stories, like we shot a beautiful wedding there, but in downtime, and like I will be first to admit, my screen time is horrendous. Like, I'm not going to admit how many hours on this podcast, how often I am on my phone a day.
Just to have some accountability here.
More than 3 hours a day? More than 4? more than 5?
It's about 6, which is horrendous. Like, oops. I definitely know that, and Austin calls me out on it all the time. But Nick, what you said about South Africa, we did that when we went to Mexico, and it was the most like freeing thing that we possibly could have done with our time there. And like when we discussed it when we were there that we were going to do it, and don't get me wrong, there was a little bit of me that was like, we could have done like so many reels, or like, and reels of like nothing, such easy stuff that we chose out of, but it was so lovely to like leave our phone in the room and just go and like be present on vacation once the wedding was over. So do it.
Yeah, I think it's literally the thing, like if you think about like generations stopped creating new culture in like the 90s, like that's kind of like the last generation that like really had like their own vibe, and there maybe the early 2000s, but the smartphone was introduced and like it kind of just stopped because people weren't bored, people like aren't creative and as they used to be and stuff. And so like
the most creative people I know have a flip phone, or like there's this one guy who he dated a girl that was in my youth group whenever I was a youth minister, and they're together now and whatever. He is just he doesn't have a phone, he has a sketch pad. So whenever he goes out into public in like restaurants, everyone else is on their phone and he's just like doodling or whatever. And I do not find that coincidental that some of the most creative people I have ever met are when it comes to technology, they are what we would call lacking, right? They're like, I don't have a smartphone. Like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know. But yeah, and so I think that was just very inspiring. Again, that's on Eric Floberg's YouTube channel. Maybe we can put it in the link below or something like that, so you can check that out.
We'll remember to do that. Yeah, we'll totally.
So
we definitely will remember to do that.
We should all get flip phones. I saw a video Ed Sheeran yesterday. He does not have a phone. He has an iPad, and he says he responds to people on Sundays via email. I was like, what?
Wow.
He probably pays somebody to have obviously a phone right now. He's like, if I need to call somebody,
he has somebody. Yeah.
Like, if I need to call somebody, I just borrow a phone. I'm like, well, okay, we can't get there, but I have been practicing I did this over the Christmas break where it was like, if the sun is down, I'm not on my phone. That was my rule. So like the sun went down like at 5:30 and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is really difficult whenever trying to do stuff. I failed a lot, but I just think being aware of that as a creative, that's really good. And that was really random, but I like that part I like that we talked about that.
Does this mean that we will not get really early morning texts from you anymore, John, with all your ideas?
No. I hold up. Okay, so this is like a running joke, and everybody is like, ha, John is got a lot of ideas and stuff. But I will say that How to Film Weddings has become pretty awesome over the last 4 years. And without those kinds of ideas and thoughts, those do come to me whenever I'm in the morning drinking a cup of coffee, watching the sunrise, not sitting on my phone scrolling through TikTok or something like that. And I have mornings where it's like the first hour of my day I'm on just TikTok. I'm like, what is wrong with me? What is going? But I do send lots of ideas. Yes, Nick.
So into that, let's talk about working with John, because I have been used to for the last 3 years waking up at 7 when my kids get up, and I have a bunch of text messages from 45 minutes earlier from John saying, I know you're asleep, but when you wake up, all this kind of stuff. So what is your opinion, your thoughts on working with John? Is he who he says he is?
I really like being a time zone ahead so that our early morning texts are not quite as early. That's a good time.
You guys put your phones on Do Not Disturb at night, right? I mean, it's not like buzzing and waking you up. I just don't want to forget the idea. No, sorry. Sorry, I'll be quiet.
I'm just too heavy of a sleeper to wake up to them.
Patrick is asleep right now, actually.
I could be. I very well could be.
Jessica.
I would say John is as funny and as kind also as he comes across. He's like a big goofball. And I think that comes across, that makes working with him like really quite fun. There's a lot, well, at least extended to me, there's been so much grace, because I have felt a little bit like, what am I doing? Am I even being helpful? Do you want me off the team? A little bit in the last few weeks. And so there's definitely like the encouragement side is very, very real with him. Like we spoke a few days ago, but he like sent me a quick text and he was like, hey, can you jump on a call in the next couple of minutes? And I was available, and I was like, sure. But I was like, oh my God, what have I done? What does he want to talk about? But it was just a really like lovely, encouraging phone call, like checking in. And so that has been like really like lovely to be on a team where you are so valued and seen and encouraged.
And at the same time, because I'm also a big picture person, she was just yesterday saying, how do I find myself like trying to help these big picture people who don't live in reality? And here I am trying to ground everybody.
I feel like I am surrounded by dreamers and big picture people, but at the same time, I feel like that's also one of my strengths, is helping maybe hone people in and be like, okay, that's amazing, but what do we actually need to do to get there? And like, let's work on that first step.
And you're very good at that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's been a big issue with John and I think while our relationship works really well, is John is definitely the big picture, and I am a big picture forward thinker, but I am based a little more in the here and now, a little bit like the actually like critical thinking, how are we going to do that? And so that has helped us, and it's nice to have that on your side, because whenever everyone's a big picture thinker, then stuff tends to not get done or get done very poorly. And I think referring back to our, not that what we have done up to this point has been poorly done, but going back to our earlier conversation with the Frankensteining of how to film weddings, it is very much Frankenstein because we're just like, okay, what's the big thing? What can we do? Where's this? What's that sort of stuff? And so, but I will say the mind that John has is incredible and how he's always thinking and looking for it. And a good thing, but also a frustration. Some of the best ideas John has had are like 3 hours before they should go live. Or, it's like during launch week of a course, he's like, oh, hey, let's do this. It's this great idea. All we need to do is film, a video and edit it together and have all these sick graphics and have all this stuff. And I'm like, this is a great idea, John. I absolutely love it, but there's no way we can get this done by noon today when it's 9:30. Like, there's no way,
That is me and Nick's relationship for the last 36 months before you guys came along. So much more than you even realize.
But now I have learned to say that is a great idea. But if he first said that, I would just say, yeah, we don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
And it would hurt his loving heart a little bit, I think.
Yeah. And one thing that we said to like where we are heading as a team, which I think, like, I feel like I have these ideas and these thoughts and like, they're not just like random. It's like, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. Like, this is what we need to do. But it's like, we need to do that now. Whoops, we should have thought about that 6 months ago. And even just with adding the 4 of you, like we had our course launch in November and we got 6 weeks ahead of it and we're able to produce content that like helped people find us and help people realize that course was really important for them. And like, it wasn't just like, hey, our course is coming out. It was like 30 days before we had a plan and we're putting it out and like more people joined and we're able to help more people. And then our mastermind launched this year. Oh my gosh. Like, we did not know what to expect. And like the first day we had more people sign up than the whole year last year. And it's going to be insane. And like, it's life-changing. And it's because we have started like, we had to like get caught up to where we, it's like every Monday there's a podcast and but we added a weekly, Thursday video and but we've been able to work our way back to say, oh, well, if we're, we've laid out basically the whole year's calendar and all these things because we have someone to be thinking about those sort of things. So enough about me, more talk about me.
Well, yeah, I feel like, you're moving ahead of. We all need to talk about you just for a second, a little bit more.
Okay, continue. Yeah, go ahead.
One thing I did want to say is I think John's very good at seeing people and letting them know that they're seen. So, like when we're in person, I notice that you go up to people who are off on their own all the time, and you kind of go and try to include them and. Even from distance, like that's a lot of our relationship is distance, but you're very good at checking in, genuinely seeing how people are doing, and like Jessica was saying, even jumping on calls. So I do appreciate that about you a ton, and those things can easily like seem like they go unnoticed, but someone's always noticing. Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna cry. Okay, so here's the thing. I grew up, and I don't know if I've ever communicated this on the podcast, but like by the time I was in second grade, I had moved to 5 different schools. And legitimately, my whole life, I have always felt like the guy that like was the new kid or I didn't feel like I ever belonged. Although I was, by the time I got to high school, it's like I know everybody, but I always had this feeling, and I know what that feeling is to like feel like you're off to the side and that nobody sees you and that nobody hears you. And that like the more that I really like, my wife is a very quiet person that was off to the side. But when I saw her, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like you are so beautiful. Like the more I got to know her, but like she would have never come up to me and been like, hi, I'm Heather. It was way more, hey, who are you? We should get together. Let's, and like peel back layers of people. And so like, I've always just been very intrigued by every face in the room. Like I can't, like we went to a party one time and there was a huge like bear head on the wall, like a real one. And I didn't notice it the whole time. We left and Heather was like, that bear was like intense. And I was like, what bear? And she was like, what are you talking about? It was above the fireplace. And I was like, I was just looking at people. Like I can only see people. And so that's interesting to hear. Anyway, that's interesting.
Yeah. It's very true, Austin. That's one thing that whenever I talk to John, and I remember early on whenever, he was like, oh man, you just need to like talk to people and network with people and, get to know them and be genuine and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, how many people are you like texting today or, in communication with today? And he was like, I don't know, like 20. And I was like, do you do that every day? He's like, yeah. Like just random text to people, saying things, just connecting with them, but not in a, doing it in a genuine way, not in a, trying to make them feel bad or, make it awkward or whatever, a very genuine way. So, we talked about how I'm okay. John's great. But one thing I do want to kind of circle back on is kind of the, the culture that we are trying to build here at How to Film Weddings and, in our groups and all that kind of stuff. Would you guys say that, we are trying our best to do the things that we are sharing with, the community? Someone want to say? Anybody can talk. Did I ask the question wrong?
Sure.
Did I ask the question wrong?
That's good.
No.
You asked the question.
You don't like that question, do you, John?
What was the question?
I don't mind the question. I like your question.
Patrick was sleeping. He wasn't paying attention. Just
I am asleep right now, guys.
I had an old fashioned last night. It's still like got a little bit of.
I did have an old fashioned last night.
Just back to that, like the culture question, and you said kind of how we are like to work with us one-on-one, but when it comes to like the bigger group, like do we really want to elevate the wedding industry? Do we really want to help people? Or as I'm sure some people think, oh, these guys just want to take your money and want to make your make money and all that kind of stuff. What would you say to that? Like the culture, do we really buy into this thing that we're putting out there?
Oh yeah, you totally do. Like, I mean, you guys truly care about each person's growth. Like, it's very evident in the culture that you're trying to build in both the How to Film Weddings Facebook group, but also like in Mastermind and also just in your courses. You can see like you're really trying to provide valuable information. Like even the information that you're providing, even just in the podcast alone, which is free, is so valuable. Like someone could just listen to the podcast without getting involved in the Facebook group or buying the courses or anything and be able to elevate their brand tenfold. It's just really nice to have those kind of courses and groups like Mastermind or CWB where you can kind of take it up a notch. Like if the podcast is like a 100 or 200 level course, those courses and those programs are a lot higher. It's that kind of stuff that people can use to really take their things to the next level. But in order for you guys to do that, you kind of have to, your time has to be worth it. You're putting in so much time and you have to, make it worth your while. Otherwise, if you're putting in this much time and you're not making anything out of it, then something's going wrong.
Yeah, I think you're like authentically yourselves, like across every platform, like who you are on a Monday morning meeting with us, who you were hosting Mastermind, who you were hanging out at the retreat, like who I built you to be in my head, like absolutely matched once we were in person together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good to hear. I like that.
That's neat.
I think I want to make sure we don't just sound like we're brown nosing though, or that we're all about like How to Film Weddings is perfect. So let me just toast us.
Bring it back down. Yeah,
no.
Bring it back down. Yeah. Toast us. No, don't roast us, just toast us.
Bring the egos down.
just a light browning.
But not brown nosing. Light browning does not sound appeasing. Oof, wow.
No, I think you touched on it though. Like the whole Frankensteining thing. Things aren't perfect. They're messy. That's anytime you work with people, that's what it is. And I think that's the reality. And I think we're all on the same page of like things things are messy, and they're only going to get better, but they're always going to be messy to some degree because we're messy humans. And we all have our flaws. Like, no matter how much we talk about how great each and every one of us is, because we are, we have our faults, huge faults, all of us. And I guess I don't know. I was going to say something and I kind of forgot, but I think
you and Nick are the same spirit animal. But I've heard this. I've heard this before.
Well, one thing to combat that mess, though, is like the hard work and the quality of work. And I think people don't realize what goes into this brand, the podcast, the creating content every week, and you genuinely have to be passionate about what you're doing to do it. It is it like the fact that you two were doing it, just the two of you, for so long blows my mind. Like, it is even for now look, there's 6 of us here and kind of the core, and it's still so much work. It's insane. And so I think that shows, and people don't get to see that, which is a bummer, but that shows. And I want people to know that, like, you guys are so passionate about the wedding industry, and people will be like, they're just working hard to make money. And it's like, well, we all want to like feed our families, and we all want to be successful in that way, but really the true success comes from helping others. And that's genuinely where the heart of both of you, Nick and John, but also just, I think, How to Film Weddings as a whole, and this team, I think we click so well because we genuinely want to help people.
Dude, Austin gonna make me cry today. He's trying. He's gonna get there.
Let's do it. Can we get John to cry on the podcast?
Yeah, just there's a couple of triggers you can probably make me cry pretty easily. Talk about my daughters getting married. Talk about my dad. Whatever you want. No, Elena, I haven't heard from you too much. I would love this. I would love Elena to answer this question, which is, what do you see as Nick and my biggest weakness after being around us for this long? Like the thing that it's like, I wish I could tell them that.
I wish I could tell them that.
I wish I could tell them
I wish John would get better at this. I wish Nick could get better. And if there's not, it's fine. I mean, it's pretty on the spot. Or if anybody else wants to chime in. But I wanted to give Jessica a couple minutes to process before I asked her. Like, where can we get better? Like, where can I get better as a human? Where can Nick get better as a human business owner here? Or as a, like, what do you see after being behind the curtain? It's like, man, like, John does all these things great. Nick does all these things great. But, like, this is an area, like, if we could work on this, or if he could, and if there's not any, it's okay. Complete immunity.
You won't be fired.
I think that you both are definitely more like big picture, forward thinking kind of people. And so, like, I think it's been really beneficial for you to bring on people who are more detail oriented, like having Emma do so much of the things, of the details of the retreat, and like all of that, like having people that can nail down details, I think has been really beneficial for just like the brand as a whole, because neither of you are like, yes, down to all of the little nitty gritty. It's like big picture, yes, things are doing great. But yeah, and like the looking far enough ahead is always a fun time, because so many of the times it's like Thursday video, and the Thursday video is being filmed on Monday, and we're working to get further ahead, and we all are just kind of working through this in-between season of getting to the point where it's a well-oiled machine and no longer a Frankenstein, oh, this piece fell out, let's put it back on somehow. And it's been a fun journey, but it's definitely helpful to have more and more like Jessica type people who are reining in the detail side of things.
Not an easy job for Jessica, I'll tell you that.
That would have also like been my answer too, but I don't know if it's more like a character flaw on my end, in the sense of like, because I'm not big picture, it can be a little bit overwhelming of like, what is the next, like, this is so far out there, what is the next step in order to make that happen?
I think we both get so excited on our like Zoom calls on a Monday morning, like during it, yesterday we spoke for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. It was a long conversation, really good. And then as soon as we log off those calls, we both look at each other and we are like all of a sudden just overwhelmed, like like anxious and overwhelmed. We go from complete excitement to like, oh my gosh, what have we got ourselves into?
How do we make this happen?
Yes, I like that. I would assume that would be some type of the answer. And then I know we're running out of time, but I wanted Nick and I to be able to communicate to How to Film Weddings who you all are in our minds, and what you all mean to the community. So I don't know if Nick needs time to process, but like, when it comes to Austin and Jessica, who do you see them as, Nick? And like, what are they like? Who are they as people if you were describing them to the community? Like,
yeah, the thing that specifically Austin, well, I'll talk about both of you.
Maybe you can talk about Austin and Patrick, because I spend more time with maybe Jessica. You can talk about whoever you want. You're the host of this thing.
Austin is a very, from my experience, very positive in his thoughts and doing everything. Like he's like, he wants to help. I can't tell you how many texts we've gotten from him over the last like 3 months. He's like, I don't know exactly what I could be doing or what you guys are doing, but I'm in, and like I want to do it. And just encouraging, and how you specifically in text with us are taking ownership in this thing that is our thing, which I know is really difficult whenever you are a business owner and you have people that are working with you and working for you, is having people take ownership of that. And I'm seeing that a lot. And Patrick's also with editing, very open to doing the things that we ask of him, and just working hard, at least from our side. Like maybe you are more of the procrastinator type, where it's like, oh, I've been working on this and you haven't started yet, but I don't know that. But getting those things done, and taking them and meeting the deadlines whenever it's stuff that's like a YouTube video, when we're like, okay, Thursdays, this is the day that we're going to release these things. And John and I are really good about filming ahead, so we get you all this stuff on Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning or something like that. And you still meet those deadlines. Like that says a lot about you, and not expressing probably some of the frustration that you actually have with us for not getting it to you sooner or something. But, putting in the hard work. So I know with what both of you are doing, we wouldn't have taken the steps, specifically Austin and Patrick, we wouldn't take the steps to where we are today without the things that you guys have been doing. I don't see it as a coincidence that our YouTube channel has grown in subscribers by a few hundred over the last, few months. Or is it 1,000?
Yeah.
Okay. 1,000. I don't know. It's been a lot. It's been a lot.
Yeah.
Over since you started taking that stuff over, and the things, how we're interacting on social media, with the graphics that Austin is putting together, and helping us tweak and update the website, and taking ideas that I have and making them better. That's the kind of stuff that I'm excited about. I know it frees up our time, so I'm grateful for you both, and I can't wait to see where things go from here.
Yeah. I have so many thoughts as you were talking. It's like, I'm going to say that, and then I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say that. I echo what you say regarding Austin and Patrick. It's been really cool to see both of them take on the ownership of the company, which is super cool. Like using
they're also
words
both
like,
just fun. Sorry,
they are fun. They're fun.
Okay.
Whenever we started by getting to meet Austin and Jessica at Vision Quest, right? I mean, we kind of like met Patrick at Venture, but like not really. And through the mastermind group, being like those two, like I feel like one of my like spidey senses is like the quiet people over there. You can just see their faces there. Like they're talking to each other. There's something about them. And so I would be like, Austin and Jessica, what are you guys thinking? And you would talk and it's like, wow, like this is like, that's such good info. I'm really happy I asked them to talk. Or same thing with Patrick and Elena. And so I echo what Nick was saying, just with the work ethic with Patrick and with Austin, and just like the ideas from both of them. And like, it's super rad to like see them grow as people and like accept the correction when I'm like, I don't like this, or I don't want that. This, like, I hear what you're saying, but I don't like that idea right now. It's not because I'm like, you have bad, like, they just are like, cool. You know, they trust me and they trust you with like, well, you guys built this thing. Like you know, like if there's a gut thing for me, I'm always just like, no, I don't, there's something about that that's just not going to work for our brand. I don't want to do it. And everybody's just like, cool. So that's been really neat. Working with Elena, she's like this powerhouse when it comes to like marketer and like the thoughts that she has of like, we could do this to grow, we could do this to, like, she's really smart when it comes to like to just the marketing and the brand itself and like direction we can go to be more profitable or to be like better on social media, or like, it's just been really cool to like have somebody that like Nick is like that, but I'm like so into that kind of conversation and have somebody be like, what do you guys think if we have like a marketing meeting about this? And Elena's like, I'm here for it. I want to talk about that. Ooh, we could do this, or we could, and like some of these ideas that just come out of me saying, hey, Elena, Jessica, can we hop on a call and you guys just listen to me talk for a little while? And like, then, you know, like throwing their ideas out and stuff too. It's been really cool. And watching just as we got to know, you know, both of you in person, you guys coming in to Tulsa, us meeting in Austin with Austin and Jessica, like all this time just with each other, it really did start to just feel like, oh, these are our people. Like we could do life with these people and we could grow a business with these people. And like the benefits of just half a year of this so far have been so amazing. And then when I think about Jessica, who she is, how she is, like I love in person just sitting back and watching Jessica and Austin and just watching how they are and who they are. But Jessica's the person that like, we were at an Airbnb with like 30 people in it at her retreat, and Jessica has like her cup of tea. She's somehow in a ball that's like super small on top of like a high top chair, whatever, like somehow just like absorbing in everything. And I'm just watching her watch people, and I'm just like, what is going on through her head? Like, what is she thinking? So I like walk over to her and I'm like, hey, how you like, what's this like for you? And you're like, this is great. Like, I love this. Like, you're just observing everything. And like, you're just such a, like, you're a quiet human, but a very deep, and like if it's like, hey, open that door and say like hi to her, it's like boom, like all this like deep thinking and just super power packed, you know, personality when it comes to like all of this stuff. And it's been interesting. And what I said to you on the call the other day when I called you was like, just you being in the room for the last 6 months is all I've really wanted you to be. Like that's all that we could be, and being okay with just like not getting everything done that we could and should be doing. And I realized that a long time ago, and that tracks with my wedding videography business as well. Is like I'd always feel like I'm not caught up. I'm behind. I gotta get my website done. I gotta get my social done. And it was one day like I just like kind of thought, well, if my whole to-do list was done, I would be out of business. I wouldn't have anything to do. I would like Austin was saying, like it is messy, and like this group, you know, just to kind of like button up kind of this weird conversation we've had over the last hour, which I think is really neat, is like this group is we're growing all together and learning how each other work and learning how what makes each of us tick. And that I knew as a business owner having employees in the past, that it's like if you're just around for 3 to 6 months and you dig, you know, us as humans and how we're doing things, we can figure out the logistics. Like we'll get there on that. But I'm super stoked moving forward, just thinking like, okay, this launch with the mastermind is done. I'm getting ahead with content, producing all kinds of stuff. Like the future is very bright for all of us. Anybody want to add anything? Do it, Nick. Do
Austin
the thing.
Hasn't made John cry
I was just going to say, I'm
like
very grateful for you all and thankful and glad that you are a part of the team, and excited for what the future holds, whether you are, you know, more on camera, on voice personalities, or if you're still kind of behind the scenes doing the things that you are doing. John and I both really appreciate you both. So again, our audience, if you don't know Austin and Jessica, who are The Creative, or Patrick and Elena, who are Shore and Summit, let's start with Austin and Jessica. Where can people follow along with you guys if they would like to do that?
Yeah, you can follow us along on Instagram. We are at We Are The Creative, and online our website is thecreative.wedding.
Okay. Patrick and Elena?
You can find us on Instagram at Shore and Summit, or our website is shoreandsummitstorytelling.com. It's a mouthful.
I lost your audio. Like, I can't hear your audio right now. Hopefully that was recording into something.
All right.
There you are.
I will talk. You can find us on Instagram at Shore and Summit, or our website is shoreandsummitstorytelling.com.
Okay. So make sure you guys follow them for their wedding work, but also if you just want to see, more of who the How to Film Weddings team is and who is a part of that. You guys, thank you so much for coming on today's episode and just kind of talking through a bunch of stuff and helping people get to know you, help to get to know us and everything. We really appreciate it. Listeners, thank you for listening. We are, excited whenever people tune in and listen to us and talk to us. They're not really talking to us, I guess. We're talking to them, they're listening, but they're a part. So guys, thank you all. We know that without you guys, this How to Film Weddings wouldn't be possible. So thank you for that. I don't have anything else to add. John, do you?
No, land it, baby.
Okay, I will land it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and until next time, we'll see ya.
See ya. Are you looking for a better way to deliver your wedding films to your couples? Look no further. Our friends over at Webflow provide the most flexible video delivery solution on the market. Webflow is pay per project with no large upfront cost or commitment, and you can cancel anytime. Not only that, Webflow offers a premium viewing experience for your couples. Accessible on mobile, tablet, desktop, as well as their very own suite of TV apps. Each project comes with 10 years hosting and an experience for your clients that will blow them away. Stop delivering your films the old-fashioned way and give your couples something to rave about. Head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/Webflow to check out Webflow today.